Here we have an example. Solve for t. 12 sine t cos t equals 9 sine t. Okay, so 12 sine t cos t is 9 sine t. Okay, this is interesting. Let's go look at those. Notice what we have. We have sine, cosine, and sine in our two terms. Let's go look at the notes. So the notes tell us, do you have only one type? No, we have sine and cosine. Okay, jump down here. Two different types. Yeah, that's what we got. If all the terms have a common piece, then factor set equal to 0, then each part equals 0, then get each part alone. What do we mean? For example, boom, boom. Yeah, that looks a lot like what we have. Notice the left and right both have cosine. Yeah, that's what we've got. We've got something in common. I don't remember if it's sine or cosine. So first off, what do you got to do? Get it equal to 0. Factor out the common part that they both have. Then each part equals 0. Then get each part alone. Oh, and then go to the unit circle or use your calculator. All right, that's what we got to do. So yeah, they both have a sign, don't they? Okay, so step 1, subtract that 9. So we'll say they both have sine t in common. So step 1, get a 0. So subtract 9 sine t from both sides. Boom, and we get down to here. Let's see, here we got 12 sine t cos t minus 9 sine t equals 0. Next step, step 2. Factor, not factor, looks like it's English word there. Factor out the common sine of t. So take out sine of t. Parentheses, this will leave 12 cos t minus 9. Do you understand that factoring there, right? It's because this multiplied there, it would go back to that and that, wouldn't it? All right. Step 3. Set each equal to 0. So in other words, the sine t alone is 0, or the 12 cos t minus 9 is 0. Why? Because if two things are multiplying, right, they're timesing, the parentheses mean multiply, to equal 0, what does that mean? How can two things multiply and come out 0? Well, the first one could be 0, or this whole second one could be 0, right? If either one of them is 0, then they'll times and the answer will be 0. So it means the first one could be 0 or the second one could be 0. Either way, if they'll multiply and be 0. That's what that means logically, right? Okay, so then we need to finish getting this one alone. Get the sine or cosine alone. So it already is alone here. That's good. The other one, I'm going to need to add the 9 to both sides here. And then we get 12 cos t is 9. Divide by 12. Boom, boom. We can reduce that fraction, divide by 3. Top and bottom. Cosine t is 3/4. All right, I'll just bring this guy down. So we have sine of t is 0, and cosine of t is 3/4. So now we need to solve it from here. Let me go back to the notes. So at this point, it says, finally, so when you got it alone, finally take each part to the unit circle and get to 2 answers. And if the values are not in the unit circle, then go to number 3. Okay, well, let's see what we got. So sine of t equals 0. So for that, we can go to the unit circle since 0 is on the unit circle, right? So let me come down here. Let me pop in the unit circle for us. Let me grab it off my notes here. There it is. So there's the unit circle. So we're saying, where is the, remember the question, where is the sine equal to 0? Right? Sine of what angle is 0? What is t so that the sine of it is 0? Let's see. Let's go find where sine is. This is cosine sine. Well, there's sine 0 already. Cosine sine, cosine sine, cosine sine, cosine sine. We're looking for sine 0. Is there anywhere else? Oops, I did that backwards. Cosine first and sine cos. There's another one. Those two places, the sine is 0. At what? 0 degrees and pi, or 180. So at 0 and pi, the sine is 0. So those are the two places. So this means t is 0 or pi. At those two places, the sine will be 0. So that was good. Now, for the other side, this one is not on the unit circle, right? There's no 3/4 anywhere. There's square root of 3 over 2, but there's no 3/4. So it's not on the unit circle. So what? Well, what does that mean we did? Let's go back and see. It says, if the values are not on the unit circle, then see number 3 below. Number 3 below, we must use our calculator. After getting the sign alone, take the inverse. Remember this process? Take the inverse. Change the number to be positive. Yep, that whole process. We got to do that when it's not on the unit circle. So now we hit inverse cosine of both sides because it cancels out cosine. This already is positive, which is nice. It's already positive, 3/4. So we'd have to change it to positive if the right side wasn't already. So these cancel, and we just get t alone is cosine inverse of positive 3/4. Hit the buttons on your calculator. So I'm going to make sure you're in radian mode. So cosine inverse of 3/4, I'm getting 0.7227. So we got rid of the cosine by hitting cosine inverse on both sides. So we got t alone, and it's coming out 0.7227. And then remember how this works. You go back to the notes, it says this is a first quadrant. When you made it positive, it already was positive, but since it's positive, that's a first quadrant answer. So now let's go to the unit circle. That means this is 0.7227, like that. That's first quadrant. So that's a first quadrant answer. Well, it says to find, that may or may not be an answer you want. You've got to find the two quadrants that have the right signs. What right signs? Well, remember the original question here. It's cosine equals positive. Right? Before I did cosine inverse on both sides, I'm trying to solve the equation. Where is cosine? Positive 3/4. So where's cosine positive? Well, remember all students take calculus. So which two, there's always two quadrants. Which two quadrants has cosine being positive? This one and this one, right? Those two quadrants. So we need an answer here in the first. We've already got that. Good, we'll keep that one. But then we also need an answer here in the fourth quadrant. That's the other quadrant where cosine is positive. We're looking for the two quadrants where cosine is positive. So it's going to be the same reference angle, meaning 0.7227 from the x-axis, same distance from the x-axis, but this time into the fourth quadrant. We need that point right there. We need that angle right there. Now that angle's not just 0.7227, it's 0.7227 from the x-axis, but how do we say the actual angle? How do we say any angle? We start at 0 and go all the way to that spot, right? Starting from 0, all the way to, that's the actual angle. So how are we going to get that exactly? Well, if you go all the way to there, that's 2 pi. And then you've got to back up, that'd be too far, then you've got to back up 0.7227. So 2 pi back up 0.7227 227. That'll give you your fourth quadrant answer. Take out your calculator. Use your pi button. 2 times pi minus 0.7, 227. I'm getting 5.5605. There we go. There's the fourth quadrant answer. So we have the first quadrant answer, the fourth quadrant answer, and these two. So the final answer to this question is all four of these, listed in any order. I'll go 0, pi, 0.7227, and 5.5605. Those are all radian angle answers. So there they are. You can put them in any order. There's all four. We got the 0, 1, pi, the two answers from that side, where the sign was 0 from the unit circle, because those are right on the unit circle, and the two answers, first quadrant and fourth quadrant, from the other side where the cosine was positive 3/4, which is not on the unit circle. We had to use our calculator and get those. There they are.